NQ market recap for Wednesday, the 25th of March 2026. Okay. Question is, where do I even start with this day, right? Or this market particularly? Like, the manipulation has been off the charts, bro. It's crazy, right? You can know the direction, you can know where you're supposed to enter, blah blah, and they still run through. It's insane, right? Let me explain this day, and I'll keep the rest for later, right? So what do we have? Let's get to 9:30 and E right there. It's 9:29, I believe. Yeah. Anyway, so what do we have in terms of structure? Well, we have previous daily low that we're making relative equal highs with, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sell side, right? So it's okay. I mean, not okay, right? We're more bias bearish, right? In terms of the, I don't know, whatever time frame that you're looking at, is a bit of a mess. However, we are delivering bearish, right? If you're just looking at current mini, I say let's say medium time frame, if that's the thing, right? We're just delivering bearish at the current moment. So I know that we have relative equal highs, but that would mean that we're gonna take higher the day, and there's a chance we could take lower the day if, because yesterday was an inside day, right? Like, if we have the volatility and we want to start moving, we could do both. So I'm not too fussed about us taking the high. Like, we don't need to take the high to move to the liquidity below us because we have so much. However, if NQ does it and ES doesn't, that's nice, right? I'm looking for like an SMT, right? That's my potential. That's what I'm looking at, because ES has the same structure where it has relative equal highs of its own, and it already taken previous daily highs, so it doesn't matter if it takes this high again, right? It doesn't matter. It'll still be like, yeah, I can do it without changing any type of structure. However, NQ can't really have that because it didn't take previous data high, if that makes any sense. So my perspective is ES is more likely to take the high, NQ is not, and because of that, NQ technically should be weaker because they can't get there, which means the shorts should be better on NQ, right? That's logical, no? Okay, so let's get to 9:30, right? Next candle. Is this the 9:30? Nope. Right. And we wanna something to assist us in the fact that we're gonna go to the relative equal lows of Asia and London. Okay? Makes sense. And what's that gonna be? Well, that's gonna be our opening range gap. So let's have that highlighted. So that's our opening price, that's our closing price, and get the quadrants. And we wanna see that us moving into the lower quadrant before 10 at least, right? Like, we need to make our way there to give me the confidence that we're not just bullish and we're just gonna rip up, that we want to come down lower, right? So a market opens and moves up, and that's fine. All I'm gonna do is just wait until either the SMT or for us to make something that makes sense for us to go lower. So I'm just waiting. We go higher, and then right here we'll create the first presented fair value gap. ES then ends up taking the high. Perfect. Right, now we have the scenario where I'm just waiting for this to be inversed. It's just simple as that, and I'm taking it to liquidity, right? I will be taking it to the relative equal lows. That's what makes sense, right? So candle comes here, doesn't close below the volume imbalance, so I know there's gonna be another pullback. We come to the rejection block, and then we dump, right? Perfect. A normal typical market, right? We close here, we're gonna offer the first presented. Like, this is how um what do you call it? What is going on? Sell 5, right? This was my limit entry right there. Guess what? Doesn't offer it and goes straight lower. We hit the lower quadrant before, basically 10, and I missed the trade, right? I I did not want this candle, right? This candle, if it did an immediate rebalance, right? It left this open. If it did an immediate rebalance, I would have known 100% it would not be coming back to the first percentage fair value gap, right? So now that I missed the trade, I'm trying to find a way to re-enter, right? So I'm like, okay, I like this gap. Why? Because it goes through the 930 opening price, which is basically the opening range gap, right? High. And I know it's more likely if it's not gonna come lower, it'll come back to discount here and then deliver lower. Okay. As you can see, we do exactly that. We go to the midpoint of our opening range gap, and then now we're starting to head to discount or the range. Okay. So I get my limit less, and I have my entry right there. However, my stop loss, just because I know it did the wrong delivery, my stop loss is actually at the high. It has to be at the high. Why? Well, because it should have delivered to the first presented, which means it can still, if I'm predicting the market, if it's gonna be so bad, if it's gonna be so bad, then it will come back all the way up to the first presented and then deliver lower, right? Like if they really want to just take everybody out, just be straight pieces of garbage, right? They're gonna do that, right? A normal market would go to come here to discount, just come down lower. It would already offered the first presented on discount. I know that. But just knowing this, I had to reduce I don't know, the order size and just let it basically rip to here where I can put the stop loss right there as like a first presented fair value gap entry if I entered early. This right there should be how market delivers. It should have just start ripping lower to the that's how it should have, right? It should have been doing this. Guaranteed. That's how the market should have delivered. And more time, it would have went way lower, right? But look what we do. We go through the midpoint and then start delivering all the way higher. See, this was part of kind of expected, right? Like, this is what I kind of expected. Then, now once we reached here and then inverse this gap, right? Technically changing the stair delivery here by touching this. I add a position there. And then once I add the position, that one candle just cooks me straight into stop loss. As you can see, if you see the original position would have never got tagged. But I didn't expect this accumulation and then eventually it goes to TP. I would not expect that at all, right? Because this is already coming back into a deep discount OTE, right? Like now we hit all the way back to the rejection block again. And then we delivered lower. That's not how the market should deliver, right? And you'll see right here, this is the weaker market, and it's the one that has SMT with the lows, while ES actually comes down and take the lows out. That doesn't make any sense, right? And I've noticed basically throughout these weeks, NQ is so bad. Even in like the bad days, at least ES is just better, right? Like you look, ES takes the highs, inverse the first presented fair value gap, you get the entry, stop loss at the high, and then from there, all the way to TP, right? Happy days, good to go. That's it. Turn off the charts. And even when we would come back all the way, right? Let's say to discount here. All right, we go to discount. What's in discount? You don't see that clear gap. But what do we see? We see this nice fair value gap before taking liquidity, and that's important, and that's what I would expect price to hold. Look at that, body's below midpoint. That's fine. All of this is permissible, right? And then we go for the lower prices. Like, it's fine. ES is moving fine, and even in like a garbage market, this is permissible. This is permissible. This is what you'd expect anyway, right? And we go lower, and then of course after that, that's it, right? We hit the TPs. The market can do whatever it wants to do, right? It could go lower, it could go higher, it could do whatever, right? And you can see. I mean, let's see what happened really after. I actually want to see what we do. We're still holding this because we're still bearish, and eventually we just close within our range. However, we're still respecting the bearish price action, right? Still, the body's below the midpoint. I mean, yeah, below the midpoint of this, right? And everything is cool and dandy, right? But no, no, no. NQ just comes back to the first position again later after coming all the way to this low to come back and take these. It's just a mess, right? NQ has been a mess these past few weeks. It's so bad in price delivery. The retracements or whatever are absolutely weird, right? And then you just get these 1 minute candles that fly through to the TP when it shouldn't have done that because it should deliver to much earlier. So it's just challenging times, right? Especially with NQ. It's just so bad. The manipulation is crazy. So I don't know. From today, I'm most likely gonna be switching to ES, right? I would not bother trade the NQ. It's genuinely so bad. And even though with the manipulation that's going on because it's 500 stocks and this is whatever, right? It it doesn't get affected as bad as NQ. Surprisingly, YM, even though it's 30, YM is doing the same thing and it's delivering, right? Like, all of this is permissible again, and it's delivering to its targets, and even more expanded targets, I'd say, right? So it's just weird what's happening with NQ, and yeah, the switch to ES is definitely gonna be made, right? Because I'm getting the direction right every day. I'm getting the liquidities, the TPs, whatever correct. I just either can't get on the move because it doesn't deliver how it's supposed to deliver, or it just doesn't do what it's supposed to do, and then at the end of the day, it just rips to the TPs if it was just holding the whole day, and yeah, it's just a mess, right? So that's the market recap. What I expect still for this week, right? I mean, at this point, I really don't know, right? It's well, I wouldn't say I fully don't know, but like, what we're looking for is an hourly close below this, right? And then I'm very certain that we will just flip this whole thing and eventually head to our weekly targets, which is these lows. So tomorrow, what I'm expecting is um heavy distribution lower, right? So I'd see this as a manipulation since Monday, and then we just basically accumulating shorts to deliver lower, right? That's how I see it. On ES chart, it probably look better, right? This high not gonna get taken type of, and we have already taken these highs, and we should start delivering lower. Same concept, right? We just gets confirmation by this 1 hourly busy get closed below, and then we're automatically not just looking for this low, we're looking for lower lows. However, let me just double check on ES on the daily. Right, we still have this target, right? So I'll try get in sync the market, but this has been awful. As you can see, it's been an awful market, right? I guess something new to learn really with these market conditions, right? The good old days when the market was moving fine, bro. I just lack the knowledge. Now that I have the knowledge, I guess it's just it's just unlucky timing, right? Go do something else. Stop forcing trade. Stop force trading, right? It's not the time. It really is just not the time. Anyway, that's the market recap. Peace out.